Good morning, families. It's Ricky. Welcome to Hope for Today. How y'all doing out there? Happy Wednesday. I want to ask you a question. Are you going through some change? Are there some things in your life that are changing? Do you have a kid who's changing? Do you have some grandparents who are changing? Do you have a spouse that's going through a season of change? Are your finances changing? Is your job and your career changing? I know all of us are going through some sort of change in this moment. I'm going through some change. Ministry is changing just as rapidly as we can keep up with. It's changing. The way the world works is changing. Economy is changing. Politics is changing. Everything around us is changing. And I may not be the only one for whom there is consternation and worry and fear, even sadness and lament when things are changing. But I want to remind you what Scripture says. He's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Translation, there's no such thing as a new rodeo for God. It may be new for us, but even in disruption, God has a plan to use change for our good. Romans 8:28, all things work together for good. I want to bring you to a passage in Mark chapter 2 where Jesus was talking about how he was bringing forth changes in God's kingdom. And Jesus told the Pharisees, no one puts new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is destroyed, and so are the skins. But new wine is for fresh wineskins. Jesus is basically kind of barking back at the Pharisees who have been barking at him because him and his disciples were doing something differently that was out of custom, that was new, that was strange, that was weird for them. And they pushed back against him. But Jesus is saying, hey, basically, I'm doing a new thing. And at the end of the day, nobody puts new things into old boxes. And sometimes God allows disruption so that the pretenses and the pushback that we have can kind of be ironed out so that we'll be ready to embrace whatever it is that God is doing new in our life. And here's what I know about change. 9 times out of 10, most people bark against it and hate it and don't want it. But God always has a plan to use that change for good on the other side of it. I was reading a book the other day on the Wright brothers, and it was talking about how the Wright brothers were first bicycle salesmen. And this is the late 1800s, early 1900s, where bicycles are the new phenomenon in America. So men, women, boys, and girls, everybody was buying a bicycle. Here's the crazy thing. All the old conventional folks said that bicycles are the worst thing to ever happen in culture. Can you believe that? Like 100 years ago, people were saying, these bicycles, I don't know. And they wrote article after article, magazines saying that this is going to be hazardous to our youth, that now whereas kids could only go for a mile or two away, now they can go for several miles away. And what temptation will they now fall prey to? And this is just not the conventional way for God to get people around. Everybody hated bicycles. Why? Because they were new, because they were different. About 100 years later, I think we all now know that bicycles have pretty much been a good thing. Can I get a Peloton witness out there? At the end of the day, the lesson is this. When change happens, our reaction is usually, there's no way this can be good. But what does it mean to lean into a God who knows what it's like on the other side of that change and trust him when things are shifting around you? I can look back over 45 years and I can tell you, I've gone through changes, many of which were painful and scary, but I can honestly say that every change, even the ones that initially hurt me, God used to help me because he is the God who knows what's on the other side of the change. Lean into him when things are changing and he will make things out all right. That's Hope for Today. I'll see you next time.